Let me tell you about my friend Marcus. Smart guy. Good job. Treats women like absolute queens. Last month, he took a girl to a 5-star restaurant, sent her flowers to her office, and even wrote her a poem. Yes, a poem. And you know what she did? She ghosted him for a guy who forgot to text her back for 2 days and suggested they hang out sometime, maybe. Marcus was confused. I wasn't. Because Marcus didn't understand something that changed my entire life when I finally figured it out. Women speak a completely different language than men. And if you don't learn it, you're basically showing up to a French restaurant and ordering in ancient Greek. Here's the thing that nobody tells you. Everything you think you know about attracting women is probably backwards. The flowers, the constant attention, the I'm here whenever you need me attitude, these aren't assets. They're relationship poison, and you're injecting them directly into your love life, wondering why everything keeps dying. But don't worry. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the secret code that makes women think about you when they should be sleeping, miss you when you're right there, and actually work to keep you interested instead of the other way around. And no, I'm not talking about playing games. I'm talking about understanding basic human psychology that somehow got lost in translation. The supermarket paradox. Picture yourself in a supermarket. 2 scenarios. In scenario 1, there's a massive sale. Everything is 90% off. You walk through the aisles, throwing stuff in your cart without thinking. Why? Because it's cheap. Easy to get. No big deal. Scenario 2, there's a special imported chocolate from Switzerland. Limited quantity, expensive. You have to ask someone to unlock the case to get it. Now suddenly, you're thinking about whether you really want it. You're considering the purchase. You're imagining how good it must taste to be worth all this effort. Which chocolate do you remember a week later? Exactly. You are that chocolate, my friend. And right now, you're giving yourself away in the clearance bin, wondering why nobody values you. Women don't fall in love with men who are easy to get. They fall in love with men who are worth getting. There's a massive difference, and understanding it is like finding the cheat code to a game you've been losing for years. The attention economy and why you're going bankrupt. Here's a concept that will change everything. Your attention is currency. Real, spendable, valuable currency. And most guys are walking around like they just won the lottery, throwing money at every woman who walks by. Good morning, beautiful. There goes $100. Thinking about you. Another $50. Can't wait to see you later. You just spent $200. By the end of the week, you're emotionally bankrupt, and she's lost interest because she figured out your money isn't worth anything. You gave it away too easily. Now, I can already hear some of you thinking, but I want to show her I care. I want her to know she's special. Sure. And I want to show my boss I'm a valuable employee. Should I work for free? Should I do everyone else's job too? Should I come in on weekends without being asked and organize the boss's personal life? No, because that would signal that my time isn't valuable. Same principle applies here. The guys who keep women interested understand something crucial. Scarcity creates value. When your attention is rare, it becomes precious. When you give it freely to everyone, it becomes worthless. I learned this the hard way. I used to text women constantly, respond immediately, make myself available 24/7. You know what happened? They got bored. Every single one. Then I changed my approach. I started having a life that was genuinely interesting to me. I started responding when I felt like it, not when my phone buzzed. I started saying no to plans that didn't excite me. Suddenly, women started chasing me. Same guy, same face, same job, different behavior, different results.
The test you're failing without even knowing you're taking it. Here's something that's going to sound absolutely wild. Women test men constantly. Not because they're evil or manipulative, but because they need to know something crucial about you. They're not testing if you're good enough for them. They're testing if you think they're too good for you. Let me break this down with a real example. A woman tells you she's going out with her friends tonight, and one of her guy friends will be there. Most guys immediately fail this test in one of two ways. The jealous route, "Who's this guy? Why didn't you mention him before? I don't feel comfortable with this." Or the overly cool route, "Oh, that's totally fine. Have fun. I'll just be here missing you." Both responses scream the same thing. "I'm worried I'm going to lose you because I don't think I'm good enough." The correct response? Cool. Have fun. Then you go do something interesting with your own life. Why? Because you're not worried. You know your value. If she wants to mess up a good thing by being inappropriate with another guy, that's her loss, not yours. This kind of test happens all the time. She cancels plans last minute. She seems cold for no reason. She mentions how some other guy complimented her. She takes hours to respond to your texts. These aren't random behaviors. They're experiments. She's testing to see if you'll panic, if you'll chase, if you'll break frame and start seeking her approval. Pass these tests by being genuinely unbothered and watch what happens. She'll switch from testing you to impressing you. Like magic. Except it's not magic, it's just psychology. If you're enjoying these relationship videos, please hit that like button and subscribe to Couple Code YouTube channel. We're breaking down the real psychology of attraction that nobody else wants to talk about. The rubber band theory. Relationships work like rubber bands. You know what happens when you stretch a rubber band too tight? It either snaps or goes flying when you let go. You know what happens when you don't stretch it at all? Nothing. It just sits there, useless. The perfect relationship has tension. Not bad tension, like arguing all the time. Good tension. The "I wonder what he's doing right now" tension. The "why hasn't he texted me yet" tension. The "I hope I didn't mess things up" tension. Most guys are terrified of tension. They want everything smooth and perfect and certain, so they call constantly, text immediately, make everything predictable and comfortable. Comfortable is the death of attraction. You know what else is comfortable? Your couch, your old sweater, your favorite coffee shop. You love these things, but you're not excited by them. You don't think about them when they're not around. You don't wonder about them or worry about losing them. Women don't want to be your comfortable old sweater. They want to be the thing you can't quite predict, the thing that keeps you interested. But here's the twist. They also want you to be unpredictable to them. When you become predictable, you become boring. When you become boring, you become that comfortable old sweater that she appreciates but isn't excited about anymore. I had a girlfriend once who told me months after we broke up, "You know what made me lose interest? I knew exactly what you were going to say before you said it. I knew exactly what you'd do in every situation. You were like a movie I'd seen 100 times." That hurt, but it was true. I had become so focused on being the perfect boyfriend that I stopped being interesting. The paradox that sounds crazy, but actually works. Here's something that's going to sound absolutely insane. The less you try to make a woman like you, the more she likes you. Think about that friend you have who doesn't care what anyone thinks. He says what he wants, does what he wants, lives how he wants. He's not trying to impress anyone. And somehow, people are magnetically drawn to him. Now think about that other guy who's always trying to say the right thing, do the right thing, be the right thing. He's exhausting to be around, right? Because you can feel the effort. You can sense the desperation underneath all that niceness. Women sense this even more acutely than men do. They can smell desperation from a mile away, and it repels them on a biological level. The most attractive thing you can be is genuinely indifferent to whether any particular woman likes you or not. Not in a mean way, not in a "I don't care about anyone" way, but in a "I'm secure in who I am, and if she doesn't appreciate it, that's okay, because plenty of people will." This isn't arrogance, it's confidence. And there's a huge difference. Arrogant is, "I'm better than everyone." Confidence is, "I'm good enough, and I don't need your validation to prove it." Women can tell the difference instantly. The investment principle. Let me ask you a question. If I gave you $1,000 for free, Would you take care of it? Probably. But would you cherish it the way you cherish $1,000 you earned by working for a month? Probably not. The same principle applies to relationships. What people earn, they value. What they're given freely, they take for granted. When you make a woman work a little bit for your attention, for your time, for your affection, she values it more. Not because she's playing games, but because that's how human psychology works. You don't have to be mean about it. You don't have to be difficult. You just have to have standards and stick to them. I'd love to hang out, but I've got plans with friends tonight. How about Thursday? Or, hey, I'm really focused on this project right now. I'll call you later when I can give you my full attention. Or, that behavior doesn't work for me. I need someone who communicates more respectfully. These aren't games. These are boundaries. And boundaries are attractive because they show you value yourself. When you have no boundaries, when you're available 24/7, when you accept any treatment, you're basically announcing, I'm not valuable, I don't respect myself, why should you respect me?
The communication code. Here's a funny thing about women. They speak in hints, suggestions, and undertones, then get frustrated when you don't understand them. Meanwhile, you're speaking in direct statements and wondering why they're reading between non-existent lines. A woman says, I'm fine. What she means? I'm definitely not fine, and the fact that you can't tell means you don't know me at all. A woman says, do whatever you want. What she means? I have a strong opinion about this, but I want to see if you care enough to figure out what it is. A woman says, we need to talk. What she means? You need to listen for the next 2 hours while I process my feelings out loud. Now, you might think this is unfair, and you'd be right. But it doesn't matter if it's fair. It matters if you want to be successful with women. The secret is learning to read the subtext while not always accommodating it. Yes, learn what she really means, but no, don't always bend to it. When she says, I'm fine, in that tone that clearly means she's not fine, the wrong move is to keep asking, are you sure, until she explodes. The right move is to acknowledge it without making it your entire responsibility. All right, well, I'm here if you want to talk about it. Then go back to what you were doing. You acknowledged her feelings, you offered support, but you're not going to abandon your entire life to decode her mood. This drives them crazy, in the best way, because it shows you care, but you're not desperate for her approval. The emotional roller coaster. Life is boring without ups and downs. Relationships are the same way. The best relationships aren't the smoothest ones, they're the ones with emotional variety. Think about your favorite movie. Is it one where everything goes perfectly for everyone all the time? No. It's one with conflict, resolution, surprises, twists, emotions. You need to be interesting. Not exhausting interesting, where you're creating drama for no reason, but genuinely interesting, where she doesn't quite know what to expect from you. Monday, you're focused on your work and barely respond to texts. Tuesday, you surprise her with a thoughtful gesture. Wednesday, you're busy with friends and unavailable. Thursday, you take her somewhere unexpected and give her your full attention. Friday, you challenge her on something she said and create interesting conflict. Saturday, you're sweet and affectionate. Sunday, you need alone time to recharge. You're not being random. You're being authentic, living a full life and letting her see all the different dimensions of who you are. You're not the constant, predictable nice guy who's always available and always agreeable. You're a complex, interesting human being with your own thoughts, needs, and priorities. This creates emotional investment. She thinks about you more because she can't quite predict you. She values your good moods more because they're not constant. She appreciates your attention more because she knows it's not unlimited. If you're learning something valuable here, do me a favor. Like this video and subscribe to Couple Code YouTube channel so you don't miss our upcoming content about the psychology of relationships.
The truth about playing games. I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds like playing games. I don't want to manipulate anyone.
Good. You shouldn't. But here's what you need to understand. Having standards isn't manipulation. Having a life outside of her isn't manipulation. Not being available 24/7 isn't manipulation. Manipulation is pretending to be something you're not to get something you want. Authenticity is being exactly who you are and letting her either appreciate it or move on. The techniques I'm describing aren't about tricking women. They're about respecting yourself enough to have boundaries, being confident enough to have opinions, and being interesting enough to have a life. If you're naturally interesting, naturally busy, naturally confident, and naturally selective about who gets your time and energy, you're not playing games. You're just living well. The problem is, most guys aren't doing this naturally. They're abandoning their friends, their hobbies, their goals, their standards the moment a woman shows interest. Then they wonder why she loses interest. She didn't lose interest because you were too nice. She lost interest because you became boring and needy. The power balance. Every relationship has a power dynamic. Whoever cares less has more power. This isn't romantic, but it's true. Now, the goal isn't to care less. The goal is to care about yourself enough that you're not desperate for her approval. There's a difference. Caring less is, I don't really like her that much anyway. Caring about yourself is, I like her, but I like myself and my life more than I need her approval. When you operate from this mindset, everything changes. You stop making decisions based on fear of losing her. You start making decisions based on what actually makes sense for you. She wants to see you, but you have plans with friends. You don't cancel your plans. She's treating you disrespectfully. You address it directly instead of accepting it because you're afraid she'll leave. She's pulling away. You give her space instead of chasing. This isn't playing hard to get. It's genuinely being someone who has standards and options. And ironically, the moment you stop chasing is usually the moment she starts pursuing. The final truth. Here's what nobody wants to tell you because it sounds harsh. Women don't fall in love with men who worship them. They fall in love with men they worry about losing. This doesn't mean be a jerk. It means be valuable enough that she recognizes what she has. Be interesting enough that she's not entirely sure you need her as much as she's starting to need you. The best relationships aren't between two people who are obsessed with each other from day one. They're between two people who both bring value to the table and recognize it in each other. Stop putting women on pedestals. Stop abandoning yourself to please them. Stop being so available that you become wallpaper. Instead, live an interesting life. Develop yourself, maintain your standards, and let women earn your attention the same way you earn theirs. The woman who's right for you will find this attractive, not off-putting. The woman who's wrong for you will lose interest, and that's perfect, because she wasn't right for you anyway. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be rich. You don't even need to be exceptionally good-looking. You just need to be secure, interesting, and selective. Those three qualities will take you further with women than any fancy car or six-pack ever will. Your turn. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the hardest thing about maintaining your own standards and boundaries in relationships? Have you ever noticed yourself becoming less interesting to someone the moment you started trying too hard? Drop your experiences in the comments below because I guarantee your story will help someone else who's struggling with the same thing. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate anyone. It's to become the kind of person who naturally attracts quality partners because you respect yourself enough to have standards. That's not playing games. That's playing life the right way.